So you're thinking about making a move to New Braunfels, Texas. In this video, Steve and I are going to give you the top 5 pros and cons for moving or living in New Braunfels, Texas. We're going to get after it right now. If this is your first time to our channel and you would like to know everything there is to know about living in San Antonio and its surrounding areas like New Braunfels, make sure you subscribe or tap the bell for notifications to ensure that you are one of the first to be notified when we bring you new market updates. My name is Katie Powers, and my husband Steven Garza and I get phone calls, emails, and texts from people just like you every single day who are looking to make a move into the area. Whether you're 6 days or 6 months away from making that move, we would absolutely love to hear from you. All of our information is listed right below, and Steve and I would be honored to be your realtors of choice. Now let's dive into the pros and cons of New Braunfels, Texas. There are always good, bad, ugly for every city, no matter where you're moving to. So Steve and I are just gonna cover the top 5. Again, this is our opinion. There could be different, but we just want to bring you our knowledge to help you make the best decision for you and your family. Pro number 1, location. New Braunfels is located right off I-35 in between San Antonio and Austin, Texas. It is a great location because you are close to 2 of the largest cities in Texas. So you have a town that feels small. It is growing. It is becoming quite a big city in and of itself. Population is right around 98,000. In my opinion, it's probably closer to 100 to 110,000 as far as population. It is growing, and there are lots of neighborhoods coming to this area. But you do get a small city feel in between 2 very large cities. So if you do want fine dining that New Braunfels doesn't offer, which they do have a lot of good restaurants, but if you wanted something a little more upscale, you're 20 minutes into San Antonio and you're 45 minutes into Austin. So really a great location.
Pro number 2, economic growth. Being between Austin and San Antonio, you get 2 big cities to choose from. And in those cities off of I-35, we have what's called the tech sector. Austin is really known for its tech, and San Antonio is becoming more techy, right? More and more companies are moving into both cities. You got Tesla on the south side of Austin. So with 35 being a straight shot from San Antonio to Austin and New Braunfels right there in the middle, you get to take advantage of the location and the economic growth of both cities. And like Katie said, you still get that small town feel.
All right, pro number 3. Outdoor activities. Now, you're gonna hear this a lot if you've tuned into our channel. We talk a lot about outdoor activities. It's Texas. The weather is great year round. Now, the heat is something that you do have to get used to, but what makes New Braunfels so great and why it made number 3 on the pros is all the outdoor water activities. So you have 2 rivers that go through New Braunfels. You have the Commute River and you have the Guadalupe River. You also have Schlitterbahn in New Braunfels. That's a huge attraction and honestly one of the best Schlitterbahns I've ever been to. And then you're also only 15 minutes away from Canyon Lake. So you have a lot of these outdoor water activities. And I will say, while you're doing your research on New Braunfels, you definitely want to take a look at tubing in New Braunfels. This is a great pastime. Lots of people come from all over to tube in New Braunfels. It's fun, it's a great activity, and it's family friendly as well. You also have so many parks in New Braunfels. So you have lots of family activities to do outside, along with beating the heat with all the water activities.
Pro number 4, the people. And like we mentioned, small town feel. This is one that's near and dear to my heart because I am a local Texas boy, right? I grew up in a small town, Bernie, right outside of San Antonio. Well, New Braunfels was one of our rivals in high school. And when I grew up in the 90s, it was a lot smaller back then. Now New Braunfels has basically connected to Austin and San Antonio with San Marcos there right north of it. But small town feel, and the people in New Braunfels will be some of the best people you ever meet in your life. They're gonna greet you, they're gonna be courteous, and that's something that we take pride on here in Texas, is just being nice, right? You don't get that in many other cities that I'm aware of. You might, but here I can guarantee it, the people are gonna be some of the nicest and kindest people you'll ever meet. And you get that small town feel in New Braunfels. They have that quaint little downtown. They have Green Hall where there's concerts. So New Braunfels, yes, it's growing, but it does still have that small town feel. And you can go cruise down Main Street and get a little touch of culture from the Germans who started New Braunfels. So it's one of those things that we pride ourselves on, is you do have the big cities. You have Austin, you have San Antonio, but New Braunfels, Bernie, these small little cities, they still feel like you're in a small town, even though you're right outside of the big cities. So,
and that brings us to pro number 5, which is the school district. Now, New Braunfels is really split between 2 counties. It's in Comal County, but it's also in Guadalupe County. It's gonna depend where you land in terms of where your home is, because here in Texas, wherever your address is where your kids get routed to the schools. So of course there are private schools, there are charter schools, you can apply for them to go to different schools, but for public schools, they get routed based off your address. So New Braunfels ISD is rated on niche.com as an A- school district. So it's still an A, it's a great school district, it's growing. Lots of big neighborhoods, which Steve and I bring you right here on this channel. Veramendi, Mayfair, these are some major big communities that are coming in and causing New Braunfels ISD to put in new schools. So it's really gonna depend where you land. You wanna check out the school districts to make sure where you're getting routed. But for some neighborhoods, they are located in Comal ISD, and others are in New Braunfels ISD. Both are great school districts. You just wanna do some of your research. As I always say, as a mom, this is super important. And for most of you moving into the area, you do wanna know these things. So niche.com and greatschools.org are gonna be your best resources to research school districts. But New Braunfels is an award-winning ISD and definitely a great one to look into for your kids.
all right, so that wraps it up for the pros. Now let's discuss some of the cons. These are 5 cons that Katie and I have come up with that you may or may not agree with, but we wanted to bring them to you, and that way you can decide for yourself. So, con number 1, real estate cost. With any growing city, you're always gonna have the economics behind it, and with that, you're gonna have the builders that come in and take advantage of it. And so, New Braunfels, it's growing, and with that, you're gonna have higher housing costs. It just is what it is. It's the nature of a market. So as New Braunfels grows, the cost of real estate is going to go up. The median house price right now is estimated around $350-ish, give or take, but I have a feeling in the future that's only gonna continue to go up as New Braunfels grows. And like Katie said, with all these new subdivisions coming in and all these builders pouring in, they're gonna put out a great product, but they're gonna demand a little bit higher price tag.
So con number 2 is New Braunfels is growing quickly. You can see this as a pro or a con. It's really how you feel and what your goals are for you and your family. I personally don't see it as a con, but you know, in our research, we have heard a lot of negative things about the growth in New Braunfels, and mostly that is people who have lived in New Braunfels and love that small, quaint town feel. It's growing. So you've got people from moving in, it's becoming more diverse. You have a lot more people moving into the area, causing it to grow. There's also construction going on because it's growing. So just some things to think on. It could be bad, it could be good, but if you're looking for a super small town feel, like in the Westerns where you see like 900 people living in a town. That is not New Braunfels. It is growing, and I do think it's going to be a very big city here in the next 15 years because of its location. So take that as you will. I don't necessarily consider it a con, but for those locals, they do view the quick growth of the town a con. So your choice.
All right, con number 3, the summer heat. This may not be a con for some, but for others, it is, especially our out-of-staters moving in that first year. They have to acclimate. Look, it's Texas. We get hot. We're hot for 6 months out of the year, if not longer. It's January, and I went for a walk today in short sleeve shirt, right? So the summer heat, it can be a con because it does get hot for 100 plus degrees for 30 days straight, and you walk outside and you feel like you're melting, or you got to go out and start the car first to get the AC on. But, you know, in New Braunfels, you got all those water sports like Katie said. So you can always have fun cooling off, but you can't escape the heat when you move to New Braunfels. It just is what it is. Welcome to Texas.
Con number 4, traffic. Now, this is attributed to the growth of New Braunfels, but also its location. It is on I-35, or should I say I-35 cuts directly through New Braunfels. So if you are going to Austin or San Antonio or to the outlet malls in San Marcos, you're going to be on I-35. This is one of the most heavily traveled freeways in Texas. This freeway goes all the way to Mexico and goes north all the way to Canada. And from Dallas to San Antonio is the most heavily traveled portion of I-35. So you just need to keep that in mind. Also, I-35 has also been under construction for, I feel like, as long as I've been alive. So just know it just keeps growing. And as New Braunfels and San Marcos and Kyle and Buda and all these cities between Austin and San Antonio continue to grow, the traffic is just going to continue. It's one of those things where it's just part of the growth in Texas in general, let alone New Braunfels. The other thing that you want to keep in mind with the traffic in New Braunfels is it is a very touristy town because you have Schlitterbahn and you have all the rivers and lakes in that city. So during the summer, it can get a little congested, especially downtown New Braunfels, because Schlitterbahn is literally downtown New Braunfels and the city is really around it. So it can get a little hectic and congested. Just know that. And they have made some big changes, like they put in Loop 337. This kind of gets you around. You've got, you know, Highway 46. I will bring you a map video so you can understand this a little better. So definitely stay tuned for that. But they have made some things or some changes in New Braunfels to really help alleviate all of the traffic straight down I-35. But in the summer, with all the touristy attractions and Green Hall, as Steve mentioned, it just gets a little congested. So you'll want to keep that in mind. But overall, it's just part of growth. And with growth comes construction and traffic.
All right, con number 5, property taxes. You are coming to Texas or you are living in Texas and you know property taxes. It just is what it is. We have high property taxes here. We have no income tax, but to substitute that, we have high property tax. New Braunfels property tax average 2%, give or take. I actually put a client in a beautiful Meritage home and that tax rate was 1.3, which was amazing. But on average, you can expect to pay about 2% of the assessed value in taxes. That is Texas. Just like the heat, here comes the property taxes.
So there you have it, our top 5 pros and cons for New Braunfels. I hope this was helpful for you and enlightening. Steve and I always like to show you the good, the bad, the ugly. The truth of the matter is you can't go wrong living in New Braunfels, San Marcos, San Antonio. They're just great areas of Texas. And the cost of living overall, New Braunfels and San Antonio is going to be significantly less than Austin, Houston, or Dallas. So to get that small town feel close to a big city with a cost of living that is affordable, New Braunfels is where you want to be. So leave us a comment, shoot us a text, give us a call, like our video if you found this helpful. Steve and I are very grateful to you guys for tuning in and letting us know if we are being helpful. The goal here is to be helpful. So the key is let us know if we are being helpful or not. Leave us a comment. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we will see you guys on the next one.